Cristiano Giuntoli is running the Squid Games at Juventus, and none of you guys know. I know because I was there. Cristiano Giuntoli is running the Squid Games at Juventus, and it's brutal, yo. Everybody knows the Squid Games, yeah? Green light, red light. Basically, Squid Games is just a game of challenges. May the best man win. Survival of the fittest. But basically, when they scream green light, you run. When they say red light, you stop. If you move, when they say red light, you're out of the picture. I was there when I saw Dean Huijsen move when they said red light. Off you go to Bournemouth for 12, 13 million. I was there when Danilo got his contract terminated halfway into the season. He moved when they said red light. Yo, it's looking brutal because I feel like players are coming to Juventus. Players are leaving. The wrong message is being sent. Like, listen, the point of this video is it's being reported that this week Juventus will not be making Kolo Muani's move from PSG permanent. They will not be turning Francisco Conceição's loan move into a permanent one from Porto. And they will not be making Renato Veiga's loan move from Chelsea permanent. Now, what do I make of this? I feel like some deserve to stay, and I feel like some have just shown they're not really cut out for it. But listen, it's looking brutal, guys. I'll be honest with you. Like, even when you remember Fagioli, he was gone in the January transfer window. Listen, it's ruthless, okay? That's the best way to put it. And I feel like sometimes to give yourself those 2-3 steps in the right direction, you need to be ruthless. There needs to be no sentiment, no attachment. If you're not good enough, you're out of the window. But what do I make on the 3 players that it's been reported? Juventus will not be signing any of them on a permanent basis. Now, of course, every day there's new reports coming out. But as last I checked, these 3 players will not be signed permanently by Juventus in the summer. Now, let's start off with Francisco Conceição. Now, you could even see from his tweet, one day they will know. And for me, I feel like internally, there's a lot of trouble at Juventus. I feel like internally, there is a breakdown in communication between the players, the board, the players, the manager, the players, the previous manager. Because when players start resorting to social media to put up these cryptic messages that nobody truly knows what they mean, you could see there's trouble in paradise. Shout out Kofi Kingston. But let's just say, when it comes to Francisco Conceição, he got a few minutes against Genoa, and then he got nothing in the game against Roma, in a game where, let's be real, when you look at the in-game dynamics, it was 1-1. You're looking at Tudor and you're thinking, listen, bring on an attacking player that's a bit more offensive-minded, somebody that can unlock a lock. But Francisco Conceição, he never came on, and I feel like that's rubbed him up the wrong way. Now, he is on a 7 million loan fee plus 3 million in add-ons, so let's just say a 10 million loan package. And Juventus, I feel like, are required to pay 21 to sign him on a permanent basis. Now, my numbers might be wrong, but it looks like Juventus have turned down that opportunity. What do I make of it? Listen, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I feel like Juventus are not really missing out on anything when it comes to Francisco Conceição. Now, I know he's a fan favourite in a lot of people's minds. He's a player that shows hunger, shows commitment, he shows fight, he gets stuck in, he's aggressive, he's tenacious. For me, I've seen a lot of Conceicao off the ball, which I like and admire. But what I've seen of Conceicao on the ball, I don't really like, I don't really admire. And it's mainly because, for me, he's very low IQ. The problem is with low IQ players is there's no time frame on when they will get that IQ. There's no time frame on when that decision making will improve. It's not a matter of just put him out on the training pitch and practice makes perfect, bro. IQ is one of those things, you either have it or you don't. And it's one of those things, if you were to pick it up throughout your career, it takes a while. It's just not worth the gamble, because Conceicao, he's so good at beating the fullback, but he's so bad at finding a teammate after beating the fullback. The final ball, it's never ever there. The cutting in and shooting when it isn't the best of options. Like, for me, as much as he brings fight and commitment, he's also very frustrating to watch at times. And for me, I look at Juventus and I tell myself, they're probably sat telling themselves, this 20-30 million that's going to go to Porto for Conceicao, we're better off putting that money into somebody like Ademola Lookman, who's more refined, who's a senior pro, who's more experienced, who's more well developed, who's more consistent in his performances. So we're better off putting the money into a far better player. So with Conceicao, feel like, yeah, the chapter's coming to an end. He hasn't shown me he's good enough to play for Juventus on a consistent basis. I don't really have anything against keeping him as a rotational piece, but even then, 20, 30 million on a rotational piece when that money's better off going elsewhere doesn't really make the most of sense. So that's Conceicao. Next, Renato Veiga. I call him Darth Veiga. But this is the one which is very, very, very surprising to me. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think Juventus are not looking to keep him on because of his performances. I just feel like internally, Juventus, Chelsea, I feel like they've been told, this dude, he's available, but money talks, and he's available for a certain price, a price that I don't feel like Juventus are looking to pay. Because a centre-half that's physically gifted, technically gifted, and versatile in the modern game, those dudes tick a lot of good boxes, and those dudes cost a lot of money. Now, fair enough, he hardly played at Chelsea. But the way this dude hit the ground running in that Juventus shirt, like, fair enough, when he came back from injury, he wasn't the best. I'm a big fan of Veiga, and I would genuinely love to see him stay at Juventus. But I just feel like Chelsea prize him very highly. Chelsea rate him. And I feel like it's just, they've told Juventus a price tag that they just feel like he isn't worth. Now, maybe, just maybe, they might take him on loan again. Or maybe, just maybe, they'll take him on loan with an obligation to buy, where now they can pay that fee for him next summer. But as it's been reported, he will be going back to Chelsea. But he's definitely a player I would try to find a way to keep. Now, the third player is Kolo Muani. Now, I don't think any of us will forget the Kolo Muani honeymoon period. When this dude came, let's just say, he brought fireworks. He was stardust. He was a breath of fresh air because he done it all. Give me the ball out wide into the channels, I will score. Give me the ball surrounded by 3 Inter players. Look at this Zidane spin and watch me put it on a plate for Conceicao. He started off amazingly. Like, he brought so many things to the table that Dusan Vlahovic was struggling to bring to the table. But let's just say, ever since February, he's faded away. And when you look at the minutes that he's been getting under Tudor, listen, I'm a firm believer in when a player stops getting minutes at a club, it's because internally the board have told a manager, this dude isn't part of our project. Okay? I look at Kolo Muani. I don't know how much the fee would cost for Juventus to get him from a PSG, but I feel like Juventus are definitely on the hunt for a striker with Dusan Vlahovic leaving. And I genuinely feel like they've set their eyes on 2 targets that are achievable. One, free agent Jonathan David. Now, of course, there is a signing on bonus, but even then, like the signing on bonus, let's just say it's 10 million. You're getting a player like Jonathan David that scores goals for fun. 25, 26 years of age for a 10 million signing on fee. It's worth it, guys. It really, 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 really is. It's also been reported that Juventus are looking at Osimhen very, very, very seriously. His price tag is 65 million. Now, 65 million, it's been reported that he wants 180,000 a week, which, as wild as it may sound, is still less than what Dusan Vlahovic is earning. Listen, Osimhen, we've all seen what he can do in this area. He's a Scudetto winner. He's gone to the Super League in Turkey and he's scoring goals for fun. Listen, the mentality, the commitment, the hunger, the relentless pressing off the ball. Osimhen for 65 million, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole of Europe chases him. He's of the right age. He's of the right profile. He ticks the physical boxes. He knows how to put the ball into the back of the net. Juventus are probably looking at him and saying, we're better off chasing you on a permanent signature than Kolo Muani, who, in my opinion, Kolo Muani would still cost north of 30, 40 million from PSG. And I think Juventus are looking at him and just saying, you started off well, but you faded away. Maybe it's best we look elsewhere. Maybe it's best we look for a striker with pedigree in goal scoring. Kolo Muani, for me, as much as he has scored for Juventus, I've never ever looked at him throughout his career and said, this dude is clinical, this dude is prolific, this dude is an out-and-out goal scorer. Kolo Muani, for me, he's just a pest to come up against, but he's definitely not the most clinical in my eyes. I sometimes look at his movement and say it could be better for a number 9. Now, don't get me wrong, Osimhen is very wasteful, but Osimhen as a striker has some of the best movement in the world. Like, there's a reason why this dude gets, no cap, like this dude is guaranteed 3-4 opportunities per game. And the funny thing is, He's been in teams where there's a lack of service, but the thing is, his movement earns him those opportunities. He's a striker that can create his own opportunities. I'm not trying to discredit Kolo Muani, but once again, 30, 40 million on a Kolo Muani, or on loan with an obligation to buy, or go out and chase a more proven striker in Osimhen for 65 million and then get Jonathan David on a free, it just makes more sense, guys. So if the reports are true, with Conceicao, I feel like he hasn't shown he's ready to be a consistent Juventus starter for them to make the move permanently. Kolo Muani, I'd be open to Juventus taking him out on loan again, but I feel like there's better strikers that Juventus can get instead of Kolo Muani. Renato Veiga, I would try anything to make that move permanent. I understand Juventus are looking at Hancko. Renato Veiga, you have to find a way to agree a deal with Chelsea. And I genuinely feel like the fact that there's an obligation for Lloyd Kelly, Juventus have shot themselves in the foot, which is that 20 million is now going to Lloyd Kelly, when in reality, it should have gone to somebody like Renato Veiga. But listen, you live and learn. So you guys tell me, have Juventus been successful in their Squid Games? And I will catch you guys on another one.